What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Matt's Mind here on the channel. We're on episode 58 of the weekly Q&A series. If you guys have any questions you want to be featured in next week's episode, drop it down below in the comment section. Of course, make sure you guys subscribe and drop a like. We had great questions last week. We have a lot of great questions this week. Let's go ahead and get started. The Brookhaven Project is asking, do you think there's any chance we will get a Master Builder Series Jabbas Palace? It's been a long time since we've last seen the location. It would be really cool to have an updated version. Now, I know there was controversy around, I think it was maybe like one of the Rancor sets or the Jabbas Palace from a while ago, and I don't know too much about it, so I can't really speak on it. But I think it would be cool to see a Master Builder Series Jabbas Palace. Of course, we haven't gotten the Jabba the Hutt minifigure in so long, even like a Bib Fortuno or even a Rancor for that matter. I think there could be a really cool opportunity to get like either an updated Rancor mold or maybe even like a physical build in Brix, which would be kind of cool. I think that would be a really cool set, especially obviously if it had like the tunnel that you go through, like the main gate, obviously like the dungeon area, and then also the Rancor pit and stuff like that. I would love to see that, maybe on like an anniversary of episode 6. Now, to be honest, I'd rather an Ewok Village over a Jabbas Palace, but I think Jabbas Palace would still equally be cool as long as there was a really good selection of minifigures, like the secret bounty hunter Slayer that sort of goes in and tries to save Han. Other cool minifigures like that would be really cool to have. Mini Dangazone is asking, some people such as myself really want a Shock Trooper battle pack for mocks like Coruscant because the 2 Shock Troopers that we have right now are very expensive. Do you think a $30 501st like set of Shock Troopers would be good to release from LEGO? So absolutely, and I think there's actually not a completely zero chance that we get this. Obviously, we've seen the Shock Troopers in the Bad Batch quite often. I mean, they were in the first episode with Grand Moff Tarkin and then accompanying all of them on Kamino and stuff like that. So I actually don't think it's completely impossible we get a Shock Trooper. Maybe it might not necessarily be in a $30 battle pack set like the 501st, but it might be more of a play set for a Kamino, maybe a shuttle or something like that, maybe like one of them and then Moff Tarkin or something like that. I mean, personally, since I'm a mock builder and an army builder, I'd love to see the Shock Trooper battle pack be a thing where it comes with 3 or even 4 of them in one certain battle pack. Do I think that's going to be what we're going to get? Probably not. I'd say if we're ever going to get a Shock Trooper from Phase 2 from the Clone Wars, it's going to most likely be something from the Bad Batch, but then also have other minifigures in it, probably not a battle pack. This is not a question, but an interesting comment I've been seeing around me. Tom from Thomas Smith says, bro, I can almost hear the Glock being held at Matt's head when he was talking about LEGO Con and the whisper of, say we did a good job but your land is gone. Now, I gotta be completely honest, this is absolute BS. I don't really understand where this whole idea and concept of the land forcing its ambassadors to feel a certain way or say a certain thing about a product. I've been vocal about my negative aspects and thoughts of things from LEGO, as in the Gunship minifigures, as in the lack of AFOL geared content in LEGOCon. So I gotta be completely honest, this comment is absolute BS. I've never once in my entire life felt pressure to have a certain opinion from LAN. And for those of you who don't know how it works, who aren't ambassadors or who haven't been ambassadors, I definitely recommend doing more of your own research and maybe not necessarily going off of what other people are saying. Scrubblord Ideas is asking, with the exception of the UCS Falcon, we haven't seen a sequel UCS set. What would you like to be the first one? This is a great question, and I think there are a lot of good options. When I think of the sequels in terms of vehicles, honestly, there really isn't much because a lot of the stuff has been reused. The X-Wings, the Y-Wings, the new variants of the TIE Fighter. I would say probably the coolest thing from the sequels, at least 2 vehicles I like from the sequels, are either the ATM-6 or the Resistance Bomber. Obviously, we got both of those sets in a playscale version. However, if I had to choose, I think it would be really cool to see the Resistance Bomber in a UCS. I know there are custom versions of it that people have made, like models and stuff like that. I personally think those are the 2 vehicles that I think of when it comes to sequels. ATM-6, the Guerrilla Walker, and of course the Resistance Bomber. If I had to choose between either of them, I probably would like the Resistance Bomber a little more, but both of them would be really good options for sequel UCS sets. Sideboy the Science Kid is asking, what was your first ever mock when you came back into LEGO? Great content, by the way. Thank you. If you go back to the earliest days of my channel, you'll know that when the first mock I made was actually a Scarif. It was just after Rogue One came out. It was a pretty decently sized Scarif, although detail-wise, it definitely wasn't anything to go crazy for. It was a pretty bad mock. Looking back at it, looking at my skill and abilities now compared to 4+ years ago when I made that mock, definitely not anywhere close to where I want to be today. But the first mock I made that got me back into LEGO was Scarif. I did make a video. It wasn't one of the best performing videos on my channel when I initially started here, but yeah, it was a bad mock, but it's what got me started, so I gotta love it. Marvel lovers asking, should I go to my local LEGO store on August 1st and get the new Star Wars Marvel Summer sets one by one following August 1st, or should I splurge at the end of the summer with all the money I've saved over the summer to buy those sets all at once? So honestly, It really depends. If you're looking to get any particular set and you really want it really bad off of release day, you're probably going to want to shell out the money on August 1st. I can't speak for everything else, but I would almost bet my entire life savings that the entire Star Wars wave, that including the UCS Gunship, will most likely sell out, maybe with the exception of the Imperial Marauder and maybe the Mandalore Duel. I think it really depends on how bad you want to get these guys. Of course, I mean, if it's something you really want and you can't possibly wait, you're going to want to get it day one, whether that be online or at your local LEGO store. However, I do want to say, just because it sells out doesn't mean you won't have an opportunity to get it. We've seen it in the past with the 501st, with the AAT, with other very popular sets, where they'll sell out for the first couple of times they release in the first few waves of the first few months, but then obviously once a couple of months pass by, there's a pretty consistent stock. So if you don't need anything, I would definitely say maybe pick up one or two of your favorite, but then maybe save your money, because honestly, even if it sells out, you're going to be able to buy it. It's just a matter of patience. Will Haas is asking, I've been saving my money for a while and I want to save up for the 2013 Playscale Gunship, but I'm kind of in the middle of either buying that or the new UCS one. What's your opinion? So this question sort of, you have to ask yourself a question. Do you want a set that you're going to be able to play with and use in mocks or stop motions, or do you want a display piece? Now, me personally, I lean more towards the display pieces. If I'm building a mock with vehicles, I usually tend to use custom models anyway. So if this were me, if I had to choose between the 2013 Gunship or the new UCS Gunship, probably go with the new UCS one. I love the size of it. I love the look of it. Obviously, minifigures are a different story. But other than that, it's a great display piece, and I would definitely choose the UCS set. But if you're someone who really wants better minifigures, honestly, and something you can use more practically, maybe then the Playscale's for you. Brix is asking, now that we know we might be getting minifigures again for May the 4th, which are your top 5 figures you'd like to see made? Actually, this is a great video idea. So I might actually turn this question into a video of top 5, top 10 minifigures I'd like to see. However, I'm going to answer for 2022, the minifigure I'd like to see is Captain Rex. Captain Rex has played a very vital role in both the Clone Wars Season 7, and the new Bad Batch season. So I really do think that LEGO should give us a Captain Rex. I feel like that's just something they should absolutely be doing. That is my top choice. I do have others, but maybe I'll save that for a video coming up. TNT Boy is asking, do you think it would be worth to buy the Republic Gunship since it has the misprinted logo? Like, how much will the value go up? And one last thing, do you keep yourself from opening sealed sets? I can hardly keep from opening sealed sets that I would like to sell in a few years. So to answer your first question, do you think it's worth buying it? I mean, that's totally up to you. For me, as a LEGO collector, I like collecting the sort of odd ones out of the group. Like, I have the Technic Osprey that was canceled. And so for me, getting the Gunship sealed with that misprint logo is a collector's item for myself. And honestly, it'll probably worth a little more, at least, than the regular version of the Gunship after it's retired. Now, I have no hard facts to back this up. This is just purely speculation. But because of the misprint, especially after the Gunship retires a couple of years later, I could probably see that version going for at least $50 to $100 more than the standard price that it's selling at whatever current point. And the next question, how do you keep yourself from opening sealed LEGO sets? I mean, honestly, the just sheer fact that I don't have a lot of room is a big factor. So it does help me to not open my sealed sets. Maybe if I have a lot of backlog stuff, it takes me a little longer to go through them because I don't have any room. Now, there are sets that I got on clearance that I just never got to opening that are now worth triple what I bought. A great example of this is the Jedi Clone Troopers Battle Pack or the Imperial Trooper Battle Pack. I got those on clearance for $5, $6, $7, and now they're worth upwards of $30. So it is hard to not open those because I want those. So it's difficult, but I'd say usually I'm able to keep myself from opening them. A non-LEGO question from Forever Royal Cards, and this isn't a LEGO question, but I couldn't help but notice your Perfect Game shirt. Were you a baseball player, and if so, did you play at the Perfect Game complex in Atlanta? So yeah, I was really big into baseball before I had my back injury. I played throughout middle school and high school. I did all the showcase stuff. I went to Fort Myers and Jupiter, Florida, Georgia, obviously, went to Syracuse, all those kind of places, and it was a really cool experience, and I love doing it. It's not something I continue anymore, but I was really into it, and I definitely attribute a lot of my confidence and responsibility from competitive sports, and I definitely suggest you guys, if you ever have the opportunity, to just try it, because you never know if you'll like it. Samuel Lopez is asking, do you think LEGO would re-release another Republic Gunship in ATT? If so, do you think it would be from Episode 2 or Clone Wars? Whatever you choose, what minifigures would you like to see in this set? So I think, yes, there's definitely a good possibility. It might be something where it's like Attack of the Clones Anniversary, they remake a Playscale version of the Gunship, but maybe not. Maybe because we just got a UCS set, maybe another Gunship is not on LEGO's radar. Now, in terms of an ATT, I think it'll be really cool to get a Clone Wars or Bad Batch version. We've seen the Imperial era ATTE as well as the late up-to-date Clone Wars version. So I think having either of those in either eras would be really cool. I definitely don't think it's impossible to get a gunship in ATTE re-release. So as for the gunship, I mean, if it was episode 2, I'd like to see Padme, Anakin, and Obi-Wan. Obviously, maybe an updated clone pilot since we didn't get one in the UCS gunship for some reason. For the ATTE, I definitely would like to see maybe more of a clone battalion style sort of deal. Maybe you get one specific Jedi and then a couple of actual clones. Maybe even Phase 2 if it was from Bad Batch, which is honestly what I would have preferred. But I think it's not impossible. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's definitely not impossible. Brickmaster Studios is asking, what is your favorite set in the summer wave of 2020 and 2021 so far? So favorite set of the summer wave from last year is the 501st Battle Pack. I've had a bunch of them and I love them. I love that set to death. Obviously being an army builder, mock builder, pretty much anything, that's probably the most useful set for me. As far as this year goes, it's honestly a toss-up between the Gunship and the Mandalorian Starship. I will probably say the Starship probably takes the cake for me in terms of specific summer release, because not only is the model pretty good except for the cockpit gap, but the minifigures are stellar. And that is something I cannot say about the Gunship, unfortunately. So I'd say probably the Mandalorian Starship for this summer wave. And last question for today, we're ending on another non-LEGO question coming from Chris Evans with 2 S's. A bit of a different question. What is your favorite exercise in the gym, or at least favorite body part to exercise? Longer episodes are very cool. Awesome. So unfortunately, my ability to exercise is limited because of my back issues, so I really haven't been able to do anything like I was doing in high school, or like training and working out and stuff like that. When I used to do it, it was mostly baseball related stuff, obviously weights and stuff like that, but cardio and conditioning was super important. I will say flexibility and stretching is the most important thing. If you guys were not aware, make sure you do that. Prevents injury. But right now, it's sort of mostly dieting correctly. Obviously, during COVID and like the latter half of last year, I gained weight. I think I'm not really afraid to say that. It was pretty bad. I mean, I wasn't really able to do anything except stay home, make videos, and do my online school. So a good replacement I've had, instead of being able to physically exercise, is honestly eating well. Dieting and eating well is so important, and I feel so much better after I eat good for like a day or a couple of days or even a week. So although I really don't have any exercise ability at the moment, mostly it's dieting and stretching and doing like pool stuff, where like zero gravity type stuff. And yeah, so that's kind of it. So guys, thank you for watching this episode of Matt's Mind. I hope you all enjoyed. Drop a like down below. If I didn't get to your question, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get through a lot of good ones as much as I can in these episodes. So drop your question down below to be featured in next week's episode. Make sure you guys subscribe. That way you don't miss any of these videos coming up. We got a fun video coming out Wednesday as well, so stay tuned for that. And that's pretty much all we got. So I'll see you later. Take it easy. Peace.